Let's see. Oh, that's right. You're a quasi dragonborn here. So let's see. The scaly furry. Come on. I know you gotta react to it. Come on. Fine, fellas.
Honestly, in that context, it's hard to tell which one you're talking about since
You're
there's
the only one who's a scaled friggin' furry in this one.
I mean,
All right.
don't we have two Dragonborns?
They are not furries. They are dragonborn. They're at least cooler. All right.
Look here,
Then we
motherfucker.
have the.
Are you saying that furries aren't cool?
I didn't say furries aren't cool. I'm just saying in the case of D&D, sometimes they're not cool.
I was making a joke,
Oh, you are right.
Grape.
Ah. All right. So after that, we then have our wonderful, yeah, the only bard we have left, actually.
Hello.
Uh, we then have our
Pretty well.
newest addition to the party, the silent but deadly fey creature.
I know that.
Oh god.
And
No
then
wonder.
last but certainly not least, our hungry dragonborn.
Hey, I'm here.
All right. So, with that, let's go ahead and get ourselves into a little bit of a recap, shall we? As our intrepid and beloved adventuring party last left off, after finding themselves not only through the corrupted and broken gates known as a Kavan Gate, they have found themselves proceeding into a fey-like forest. Something beyond which the normal human or creature's mind could not comprehend from the material plane. As our party had broken through and immediately found themselves almost entranced by what seemed to have been some sort of ancient ent, known or at least introducing himself as Vonanum, someone as a shepherd of the trees and one who does so very happily and for a very long time. After him, with his assistance at least, and asking for his wayward guidance into the areas around and through the Amber Forest, our party has managed to get themselves in contact with his daughter, Melanith, a beautiful dryad made of red and oak wood, carved perfectly like that of a fine statue of Machiavelli or Machiavellian content. After a small blood ritual with the help of this dryad, our party has now collected the medicine needed for healing, or at least a hope of healing, their ailing lord down in Port Ivy to their far south. As we pick ourselves up getting back into character, we go ahead and join ourselves once again, just as our party is on their way through the Amber Forest, being guided once again by their, so we say, interesting guide and travel companion. And that is where we pick up and get back into character. As all of you are currently still very slowly trudging your way out of the garden of Melanith and out of that sanctuary, and then finally out and into the Amber Forest, surrounded by the giant oak and redwood trees once again. The vibrant colors that surround you of difficult pinks and purples, and the vibrancy of reds that immediately accent them and highlight the areas of green. The floor is yours. What would you like to do?
Let's see. We are still currently traveling towards Davie, correct?
Yes, you guys are currently on your way to traveling towards where at least what you were told, is a rock garden, or some sort of garden
And we
guarded by a pixie or so from what you know. And you are heading down to talk with them.
yeah. And if let me look at my notes, uh we had also just brushed path with Yovoric, correct?
Voric, I believe you have.
It's the spider,
Hmm.
the giant spider.
Old man Yavorik, the ancient spider that you guys have managed to persuade out of killing you.
This time.
Yes.
Yes, this time we were lucky.
Actually, this would go to Arnott. You actually know that Yavorik, he's an ancient elf arachnomancer, or at least that's the arcane traditions that he follows from the original matrons of the forest. Fire, that's you. But anyway,
Um,
yes.
he kind of looks to to their Fey companion. Hey, question, if you don't
Yes.
mind, as we're mind walking. It is more towards fire. Do you think
Answering for him,
any
his mic has been rather malfunctioning at the moment. Yes.
uh do you think there are any herbs here that the Fey creatures here wouldn't mind us collecting? Or do you think they would all be very mad? Just curious as to such.
As this happens, and you find yourselves, he even ponders this himself, and he thinks about it for that. And as this happens, he kind of brings a hand up and rubs it across his chin. Well, there isn't much I can try and say about this. From what I do know, is that most things, at least from some incentivization, do like the idea of being plucked to spread their seed. But most things in the Amber Forest do have some sort of guardian, whether they be some sort of pixie or some sort of other fey creature. So I would be highly, shall we say, reluctant to try and pull something.
Hmm, that's what I thought. Well, best keep my rather alchemical tendencies to myself then, at least for the time being. Do not want to anger this boss anymore, so then well, it just transpired.
Sees he nods and follows along. Uh, okay, I get your message. Fire for what happens. Just send me a message if something comes up. Like if you want to do anything, just send me a message, and I will do everything I can to try and get that while everybody else is talking. Okay, perfect. All right. So, with that, as you and Fire have this conversation, eventually your talks follow you through, and you being the one who has actually run into these before, you actually see blocking your trail is a large spider's web. Very intricately made, woven like a fine carpet that weaves almost infinitely into the outer abyss of the trees above you.
You just see Wallace blink, stop, and he's just like, yeah, no, I'm going around that. No way am I going to do that.
As Arnott looks at you and, well, I don't exactly bother with that. I mean, we can stay out of the way of the webs. It's just, from your idea, yes, we should probably avoid them again, because Yavorik is not exactly known for his niceties.
Yes, and I'd rather not be caught in his web again, or webs of his children. If, if that makes any sense. And you just see, like, well, I was just thinking about it before just looking around to see if there's any areas that weren't covered in web.
Make me just a general perception check here.
I got 15.
15. All right. Uh, the area that encompasses this finely woven, majestic art piece of webbing, you actually find yourself. There's a small pathway off to the left or right. You could take either path. Now, picking out small definitions, you do see there is a difference, though. On the pathway to your left, guiding through it seems to be a almost arched treeway, almost functioning like a small tunnel. Leads off, and you get a soft smell of what almost smells like a marshmallow. To the right path, you see what looks to be a twisted and bent tree line that just seems to continue off into the center. And you see it does pass somewhat close to the underside of the webbing, but the area itself is covered in beautiful and majestic flowers. Both sides look somewhat inviting, but the twisted tree line just kind of throws you off.
Throws me off in a good way or a bad way?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know about you lot, but I do not trust that leftward path. Then again, if we go towards the right, well, we know what happens to the Fae and their plans. If anything. So what say you all? And he kind of looks back towards everyone else to see their general opinions about the paths.
Clyde shrugs.
Just kind of stands there nibbling on a piece of bread. I say we go that way. And he points directly through the webs. Why get out of the way? Why not? Why go around it?
Did
Just
you
go through
not-
it.
Rowan, did you like completely blank out when we last?
No, I just don't want to waste time.
I'm telling you right now is we're not taking that path. Unless you want to get yourself.
You have my vote. You know where I want to go. So, you have mine.
Well, I, for my part, don't want to mess with the spider. You know? They seem to have enough issues on their own anyways. Don't need us meddling in their business as well.
Quite indeed. I think we should find ourselves. I would say the most inviting path looks to be the left. But most things are a trick in this forest, so I wouldn't be surprised to say something might be flipped here. And I also agree. Just staying away from Yavoric's webs would be a great boon to our traveling time. So, let's say all of you, left or right? It's only our lives, right?
They're fighting, but I still better away. Know that there's going to be something going to be distracting us.
So, see as Rowan is still there nibbling on a piece of bread, and Aaron just kind of keeps on looking left and right. And eventually, well, the right path seems to beckon our way through, and it comes very close to the webs. I'd rather take the left, keep as wide a berth as we can, what say you? Staying away from these spiders would probably be best.
Then it's not good. We need to.
Rowan looking over all of these shrugs gently as Zoram kind of has a small minor coughing fit as you look over and see some bug flew in his throat and he's finally awake. But eventually, Rowan finally points off to the left. Well, if we're to go left, might as well follow the guide, shan't we?
Yeah, I'm kind of lost, so I don't quite know where we are right now.
Ah, I understand. At the moment, you guys are currently traveling from the Dryads' portion of the woods, and you guys are making your way through, and you're trying to pass by, and you ran into another set of Yavoric's webs. And you're trying to either go around them or through them, and everybody's saying we should go around.
Hold on, I
Mhm.
have an idea. What if
Okay.
we asked him if he could move them?
Believe me when I say this from seeing them, that is a very, very low chance, Clyde.
Worth a shot, maybe. We don't want to
Let's just
destroy your
go
beautiful work.
around.
Is there any path that you can,
I
you
will
know,
say,
give us?
Arna, go ahead and make me an intelligence check here as they're discussing this. And Clyde, go ahead and make me a perception check.
Alright. Oh god, I forget my perception. Hold on, I need
First
to.
roll of the game going off strong, gets a 2. Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Why not ask the old man? He's already saved your life once by sparing him. Might as well ask him, right?
Alright, hold on. My sheet crashed for a second, so I need to refresh the page.
I completely understand the page is crashing it. Believe me, I've had to deal with it for years.
Yeah, okay. Perception. 19. You know, I'm gonna keep this dice out. You did good.
You did good. Give it a little pet for me.
I
Give
did.
it some love.
You deserve a
All right.
second chance. For now.
As you keep
Oh
an
my god, I
eye
haven't
out,
used this dice in months.
it's like she uses me again. I must provide for her.
It's my
Uh,
completely clear dice with white numbers on it.
Keeping an eye out, you actually start noticing, Clyde, that even through the webs, you're starting to
Mhm.
notice that there are small clusters of spiders that are actually keeping eyes on all of you.
You know what? Clyde's gonna gingerly make his way over to the spiders and being like, "Hi, can you show us a path so that way we can, get through here without destroying your webs?"
As you walk over to them gingerly, you just see her just facepalm and pinch the bridge of his nose. Just shrugs. Well, might as well just ask them, shan't we? Just like Rowan said.
Yeah.
Quite, actually. And Rowan has this big ass shitty grin on his face, like, told you so.
Oh, as long as we don't end up with our intestines liquefied and sucked out of our bodies.
I think we'll be fine.
Clyde, go ahead and make me a persuasion check here.
It's a -3.
Persuade.
What?
What? It's happened.
That's
We
a
would.
+5 to whatever roll I get. I can't lose unless it's a nat 1. It's a 2.
Rolls a 1. Don't say that to a DM. Don't say
Also-
I can't lose to a DM.
I got a 2. And then add the 5. So I got a 7.
Uh,
You know what? Just for the sake of you guys not dying, Rowan's gonna impose advantage on you and try and help you out here. So roll again.
Come on, you got this. You got this.
you should never boast about bonuses. It
19.
never ends well.
14 plus the
Unless
5.
you're Theron.
19.
Unless you're Theron.
Yeah, sure.
Just so we don't die. Thank you. And just starting to play his
As you-
bagpipes in the corner.
yeah. Rowan over there just starts very slowly blowing into a harmonica. And it's actually not the usual, just kind of heavy, long notes. He actually starts playing a small tune
Wait,
off
did
to the
he
side.
steal my harmonica again?
Yes, he did. As you reach over, notice it's gone again.
You know,
He's standing.
fine,
He's standing
Steve,
beside you and very lightly blowing into the harmonica.
I'll get my own harmonica.
As he finishes up with it, he hands it back to you and, huh, it's a good instrument.
You know what? Keep
I'll
it.
get my own someday.
Keep it. Keep the harmonica.
Really? You sure? I
My
mean,
gift
such
to
a
you.
staple of your. Oh, thank you. I could always have a gift.
My gift to you. Enjoy.
And kind of gives a kind of half-assed bow. Thank you. Thank you
Clyde's
very
gonna give him
much.
one back.
Nice. But as this happens, and keeping an eye out to it, you actually see as some of the spiders are kind of looking at each other, and you hear what sounds like a soft chittering as they talk amongst themselves.
Clyde just kind of like looks over to the rest of the party, being like, it would be really useful if we had a druid.
And
I mean-
eventually, as this happens and Niram continues talking, as this thought continues, you actually start seeing what looks to be large spider legs start very slowly coming out of the darkness of the upper trees and coming down the web. You have a few
Oh.
moments. Niram, you want to continue talking?
No, just like due to that comment, he just goes, I mean, yeah, it would be nice, but where the flying fuck are you going to find a druid willing to hang out with us?
Your mom.
Roan looks over and
No, I'm just
even I wouldn't go there.
no, just looks at Clyde, absolutely devastated, like on the verge of tears, like,
No, I'm sorry. He like goes over to hug near him, being like, I'm so sorry.
Did we just really just crack a your mom joke?
As this happens, you see the
My
giant
other
spider
friends have
legs that
ruined
start
me.
very slowly making their way down this web. The legs themselves are colored so finely they look like tree branches. Each movement is so slow and precise that you could mistake it as the waving of a tree branch from one of these giant trees. Eventually making their way down, you see this giant spider, roughly about 20 feet in length and about 8 feet wide. A very large spider with its legs extending even farther. Familiar in coloration to you, Volus and Zorm. You guys were very close to this spider a few minutes ago. What is your business with my webs and my children again?
Clyde would kind of like speed up, being like, we don't want to hurt your beautiful creations that you have, and we would like to know the best path we can take to avoid hurting the webs and your children. He kind of like gives like a smile, like a hopeful smile, being like, eh.
Actually, see somewhat of a thoughtful glance, if one could ever happen, upon a spider's face
Mm-hmm.
that looks at you. I have not had many creature ask for that sort of boon before. Many would just try and go through and hope for the best.
Well, clearly those people don't have such an appreciation for the fine crafts. My English brain can't speak.
I mean,
The
craftsmanship.
fine craftsmanship of your web.
You play to the ego of an old spider well. Yes, quite. It is beautiful, and I'd rather not have it destroyed or touched. Your best path should be to the left. which would be your right.
And should we encounter any more of your fine webs, which way do you suggest we take?
One of my followers shall guide the way for you. Keep an eye for him. He's rather small.
Of course. Thank you for the
So,
guidance.
so
Many
when,
eyes.
Clyde would say with like a majestic bow.
Roland would actually kind of follow up with this and give a bow to the spider, like, I am not fucking around with a spider that sized.
Respectful bow, very low to the ground, Like, yes. Thank you. And kind of raise back up.
so when he said to your left, it meant to the right. Okay.
Oh, as you all guide your way over to the right path, you make your way over to it in the twisted and bent tree line that immediately forms this small pathway. You look down it, and it looks like something out of a horror movie. Like, even though the beautiful colors of the flowers arrange themselves wonderfully, it peters off and almost into what seems to be some sort of a magical darkness. And none of you can see past it. So as you take the first few steps, who is leading the party through?
I will
get-
if no one
If
takes.
no one takes point, I will.
So as all of this is happening, Arnold will actually step by and kind of put his hand on your shoulder, Clyde. Don't worry, I'll do it. Besides, I am your guide, am I not?
Mm-hmm.
And he steps forward and continues the way leading. Arnott, I will actually go ahead and have you make me a perception check here. And it is not at disadvantage because of the magical darkness. It is at a single roll because he told you what you should be looking out for. Following the pathways, you immediately start stepping through it. You look by and see that there is a collage of webs that actually align the outer shell of this pathway. Just maybe a centimeter or so beneath the flowering petals of these beautiful ornate decorations, you see that the fine, thin silk of these webs spreads like a mattress beneath them. A heavy veil, should we say. As you keep an eye out through it as the rest of the party is following you, your eyes actually get attracted to what looks to be almost a spider, maybe the size of the tip of your pinky. A vibrant, what looks to be, you can't tell if it's an amber or bronze, but you see what looks to be a small spider that is currently very slowly making its way through the webs.
You must be the one Jorvik had mentioned. And you kind of like look towards the spider.
Just as you make your way forward, you see as Arnold just like he stops you guys just because he wants to ensure about this, and then it's like points at it. And Volus, you walk up, and you're like, I can talk to this guy. Don't worry about this. And you pull on your best Kronk expression, just beautiful puff out your chest, beautiful smile.
Naturally.
Squeaker squeak, squeak, squeak.
Yeah, squeak, squeak, and squeaker, squeaks, squeaking and squeaker. And
How to use comprehend language now.
you look at the spider and as you talk to it. Do you know Sylvan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can speak with a spider. Arnett, you also hear this conversation because you also speak Sylvan.
Well, imagine speaking ancient Elvish.
Wait, hold on. No, I don't have illusions. Wait, do I?
I'm sorry, I only speak modern Elvish.
Sorry, I
Amateur.
speak
Sorry, I
modern
don't
Elvish and I speak bad English. Take your two.
Sorry, I
Wait,
don't
hold on.
speak
Does someone have
tree.
minor illusions? Just like a out of character question.
Rowan
Probably
does.
not.
Okay, hear me out. I cast detect language, right? And then he does like the minor illusions, right? And then we can read the conversation
I'm sorry,
Wait, so you're doing comprehend languages
to understand. That's the
and
one
to
language,
understand him,
right?
and then you're going to have.
Isn't that just like Skywrite? Not Skywrite.
So you're going to try and have subtitles for this conversation.
Yes.
Oh my god.
So as you go over, you put a hand. You just for the sake of how stupid and cool this sounds, you go over and put a hand on Rowan, and you cast the spell, and the spell transfers over to him. And as that happens, he goes over. I mean, I can try. He brings out his bagpipes and slowly kind of puffs into it and plays a very soft tune, which is actually surprising. And you actually all witness what looks to be, as the spider speaks, it's almost like, forgive me for this, but it's like Undertale. It's like the text to speech very slowly crawls across. All right, shut the fuck up. And the spider speaking to you actually now has subtitles. Thank
Well,
you, Clark.
shit, I learned 3 years of Sylvan for this shit. At least I'm the only one that can actually speak to it aside from the Fae.
Well, dang, you only needed 3 years for Sylvan? I needed fucking 14 years to learn goddamn Dwarvish.
And eventually the spider's looking at all of you. Yes, I am the I am the guide sent to you by our great lord. I believe I am to be leading you through this small tunnel. Yes.
That's correct. A pleasure to make your acquaintance.
I'm sorry, but I just have this mental image right now of the spider being really confused over why these random scripted words are showing up over top every single time it speaks.
It does it can't the spider doesn't have to normally read, so it just sees things appearing in the air before it, and it can't read backwards either. So all of a sudden it's just large words floating in the air above it or below it, depending upon your viewpoint.
But he can't read.
But he can't read it.
Would you like some scribbles with your scribbles?
The spider continues. Well, I believe we should continue on our way. I don't believe there'd be too much hassle or hustle needed here.
Agreed.
So if you would be so kind as to follow me. And the spider actually kind of picks up the pace, but it doesn't even seem to be like the spider is rushing. He's just following the webs like it's a highway. And I will say the person in front, being Arnett, and as you continue watching the spider and following after it, go ahead and make me a survival check at advantage. Without issue, you keep eyes on the spider, and the spider leads you. The
Yay.
small servant of Yavoric. Eventually, you pass by many forks in the road, but you're lucky that you have a guide for your guide, as the spider leads you through many ways that seem to be at least looking somewhat treacherous, and then finding out that, well, that wasn't too bad. I mean, it was slightly dark and maybe a little damp, but other than that, very pleasant. And another boon is that you don't have to deal with pixies or any other mischievous nature of the Feywild.
Bet you they'd make a tasty snack.
I'm sorry, what?
Nothing.
No, this is why you worry me sometimes.
Don't
Hey,
worry, I'm
looks
just
over.
partially deranged.
Rowan looks
Only
over
partially.
and, you're talking about stacks of living creatures. I'm the one eating bread here. Who's crazy? And he keeps walking. Continuing on, it actually takes you guys a few hours to walk your way through these passageways. And eventually coming out, you once again erupt back into the large forest, the multitude of thick trees that grow tall and ancient, immediately surrounding you once again. The soft sound of chirping crickets, birds humming and very slowly whistling out their tunes. The pleasant atmosphere of the Feywild once again returns to you. The spider resides just on the edge of the web, gives you a soft nod. Have a very nice rest of your journey. Be safe.
You as well. In this land.
I have no need to journey elsewhere. The web is my home, and it is very comfortable. Now, as you break out of this large area and finally find yourselves once again back into the forest, Arnon, you look over and this area is somewhat foreign to you. You haven't really been in this area of the woods, but you have a good enough inclination as to where you're going, just due to the directions that the Dryad gave you. Continuing to make your way southward, you follow yourselves, and even something just starts oddly creaking around you. Almost as if you start hearing the trees turning or bending. You're not sure if it's just something you're hearing or if the trees themselves are actually moving. It wouldn't surprise you, as you've already seen some sort of ent. But there might also be something else here. You're not sure about it.
Is it old man Yavoric?
Hmm?
Is the old man watching us?
You guys have been through the webbing. I mean, he might have been watching you, but you guys are just about 10 minutes past it. I mean, you guys have kept walking. You've kept your pace.
He could have followed us.
You could have if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think he has a reason to follow us. We've got someone to to guide us through. Not like he'd be concerned.
Clyde's gonna look up to the trees.
And they spoke Vietnamese.
We're not doing this again.
Yeah, that bit has died.
You look up into the trees and keep an eye on Arn as you very slowly keep your hands out and cast Detect Magic. The Feywild itself is an innately magical place, so most of the things in your line of sight do proceed to your eyes as magical, as the soft glowing auras of the arcane just very gently pull themselves out. As you keep an eye out further, you start recognizing some of the places you are. You are very close to a portion of the forest you would rather not be, or at least not want to be. You're getting very close to the what is known as the Tomb Sanctuary, or at least the tomb in very minor terms, a place where Kavan is held and kept prisoner by the magics of the forest. And the rest of you keeping an eye out. It makes your skin gently crawl. I mean, there's something around this place that just doesn't sit right with you, like you're being watched by everything. Since you're keeping an eye out in the trees, Clyde, go ahead and make me a perception check.
The
Have
trees are
no
speaking.
bonuses.
The trees, they're speaking.
Quiet, we ain't the Lorax. 15.
Looking through the trees, you actually start seeing that many of these faces start appearing in the knots of the bark,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all just looking at you. No moving eyes, no glowing eyes, nothing. It's just they seem to be appearing and looking at you.
Uh-huh.
It's free real estate.
Or like,
Eventually, Arnott speaks up again. I'd rather not be in this area. Perhaps you can all feel it, but I believe this is somewhere rather dangerous, and not somewhere we should be. Let's try and gather ourselves a bit more eastward, and then further south.
I'm assuming
Does anyone
you
have a
know this
compass?
place.
Some idea of it, yes. And I'd rather not be here.
Can you kind of just let us know exactly what we're in danger of, so that way we don't have to like worry about having our butts clenched all the time?
You see as he would very slowly point off to a kind of westerly direction. Points off, and you actually all see what look to be much like the trees outside of the corrupted gate. You see the ancient redwoods that have very slowly turned into a blackened, almost sickly, pointed nature. You see as they've been corrupted, and the bark themselves have a soft gleam like a black onyx. Moss and other such vegetation growing slowly like some sort of poison over these trees. That over there is the tomb, or at least what is referred to as the tomb. It holds one of the more ancient prisoners of the forest, one set aside by the matrons themselves, or from what I understand, the matrons themselves.
Okay, so that's good to know. Let's not
So
be
we
here
should
then.
stay away from it. All right. So, guiding your way around as this happens, you look over and continuing through, and Clyde, you start realizing that the faces of these trees are watching you, and as you keep moving, the faces are twisting very slowly through the bark. And start realizing the trees here are probably more alive than most of the likeness that have been around.
Huh. Clyde's gonna point this out to the rest of the party, being like, guys, I don't want to alarm you or anything, but the the trees are watching us.
If, no offense, Clyde. That doesn't surprise me in a land like this anymore.
They're the faces, the eyes. You can't really see it, but they're following.
All right, go ahead and make me a general wisdom check here.
I'm very tempted to just have Clyde like try to intimidate one of the faces on the tree, but I feel like that's gonna end badly. I want to do it so bad.
Naren's now just
Eventually,
looking around.
as you walk your way over to it, Arn just kind of grabs your shoulder. I wouldn't do that if I were you. These are the guardians of the tomb. Most of these are more ancient than even Varnum. These are all golems,
Okay,
designed to be
so
set in the trees themselves.
so they're good.
Until you piss them off, I
Then
assume.
they're neither good nor bad. If they were good, they could be corrupted. If they were bad, they could be poisoned. They are nothing but living examples of magic.
Okay, so they're neutral in this.
Yes. So I'd much rather you not try and poke a bear.
Not going to.
Thank you.
Don't mind me, I'm just taking psychic damage in the freaking DMs. Okay.
Taking psychic damage in DMs, damn.
Wait,
What?
what's going on in DMs that you're taking psychic
You
damage?
just send me something that he wanted to say, but not out loud because we're on stream. I'm not going to read it out for both
Can
his
I
and
see
my
it?
sake.
I
But
want to
yeah,
see it.
ow.
So, moving on, as this happens, continuing your ways through, you all find yourselves once again passing through these many guardians, as they're referred to, entitled. Before once again breaking through them, the feeling of goosebumps and just crawling skin eventually fades. No longer the feeling of being watched or overlooked. And it kind of relaxes the tension between your shoulders, and it just feels better once again. Being out into the natural area, or what could at least hopefully be natural, of the Feywild woods around you in the Amber Forest. Do any of you wish to do anything, or are you going to continue walking?
Clyde's gonna
Um,
continue to look around.
Okay, make me another perception check.
I got a 17.
17. Yeah, you're in his neck of the woods. Let's see if you run into him.
Neck of the woods.
you're on his turf.
Scared sounds. Scared sounds start to be admitted.
Interesting. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Clyde, as you're keeping an eye out, you look over and you see walking, or what you can only see is trotting their way through the woods, maybe about 100, 120 feet away from you. Looks to be a man riding almost looks to be like riding the neck of a horse.
The neck of a horse.
Looks very weird. The body is
the-
so far up on the body of this horse that it looks exceptionally weird.
Does the horse have a head?
What'd you get on your perception check again?
17.
Not that you can tell, actually. The further you look at it, you don't think that horse has a head. Except you think that the body of the man is the head of this horse.
So it's a centaur.
From what you could gather from the information of being told of what a centaur is, yes.
Uh-huh.
You could gather this is
Who's the
probably a
nearest
centaur.
person to Clyde?
That would probably either be Rowan or Nir.
Okay, we're gonna gently tap the both of them on the shoulder, being like, guys, there's a centaur over there.
Okay. I mean, as long as they don't bother us, I guess it's fine. I don't know.
What do you think it's doing over here? Clyde just kind of forgetting that we're in the Feywild for a second.
Nero just kind of looks at Clyde like,
I wonder why, Clyde. Maybe ask the giant spider we just passed through not some odd minutes ago either.
hey, I think they just, live here, going about their daily business. I don't know what that is. I've not talked to them yet. I wouldn't know. But
My brain just wants to go likely story.
Oh my.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
I've got their shit. We've got our shit. Let's just get on with it.
Clyde's still gonna keep a lookout, though.
Get on with it. Greatest skit in Monty Python. Alright. Continuing your way across after witnessing this centaur, you actually start somewhat noticing that after you look at them, the centaur has been kind of keeping pace with you.
Wait, what just happened?
The centaur is keeping pace with you.
Clyde's gonna point it out to the same two again, being like, pretty sure we're being followed.
Yes, I believe that's pretty apparent, but
Like, Nero just kind of looks at Valis, who's like a few steps behind them, I guess. Or were you? Did you take point? You took point, right?
no, I didn't take point.
You didn't
Aaron,
take
it's
point.
still in the
Okay. Yeah, right.
Aaron, it's still in the point.
Sorry, got that mixed
No,
up.
you're good.
And he just kind of looks at Valis, goes, I mean, don't think they're bothering us yet. What, do you think they're going to sacrifice us to some weird deity or something?
Well, now that you mention that,
Oh, come on. You can't just go around assuming everyone will fucking murder you.
Yes, you can.
That's not healthy, though.
Sure.
Just like... I mean, okay, we've come across a lot of people who wanted to kill us, but... Come on, just because we're now here in the Amber Forest doesn't mean that literally everything wants to kill us.
That's true. The old man
Arnett
didn't
would kind
kill
of
us.
nod here.
But anyway.
Normally things don't want to kill things here. It's mostly a live and let live. Unless you're the spider of Old Man Euphoric.
Yeah, but let's go with the live and let live part. I think that's pretty good. We'll just let
Now remember,
them
I
go
said
about their business.
Most
Most,
of them
Yeah,
are
but
live
not
and let
today.
live.
I'm going to go off the assumption that this person and whatever they're doing is just, they've had a passing interest in us, so they wanted to see what the fuck we're on about. And that's about that.
As that happens, he looks over and Arnett finally paying attention to this. You're all talking about a center. Looks over and sees you all kind of making the notions as you talk about it. He squints his eyes. If yeah, that is a centaur. Looks familiar, but I'm not sure if I wanted to call him over here. Leave him be. He's probably just a little anxious seeing new faces.
I mean, we're not from this realm, so it makes sense.
Oh, yes, and considering he is part of the guard, it serves him right to be a little anxious with you.
Guard?
He's translated from Old Sylvan. It is the Nyanaranath, or the Matron's Guard. And
Huh.
he's, well, from what I can only tell from here, hopefully he is the one I'm thinking of. But his name is Violence. He's an old centaur. Very wise and very stoic man. But he's old as well. And pretty soon I think his time is coming to where he will pass on to the Feywild.
Aren't we in the Feywild?
No. This is an extension of the Feywild on the material plane.
Oh.
And as you guys keep walking and he sighs and continues explaining this, Arnett, go ahead and make me an intelligence check here. See how good your explanation is going to be. Who? Jesus
Oh
Christ.
no! Just for shits and giggles, I rolled an intelligence check to see how much Naren would understand. It also ended up on a 2, so it's already bad enough, and then Naren also has absolutely
So the
no idea what's
explanation
going
he
on.
has is, well, it's complicated, you see. You take a pot of the Feywild, kind of like you take the flour of making bread, I think. And you throw it into a bit of water representing the material plane, I think. And when you mix them together, voila, bread. A little mixture of both, I guess, I suppose. I think.
So we're in bread.
We're in the bread.
Okay,
Rowan goes over and taps on one of the trees. Hello, bread. You're going to be
hold on.
lunch.
Before Rowan goes to tap on one of the
Oh my
trees, Clyde's just gonna try and tackle Rowan to the ground, trying to be careful and where he's tackling
Why
him
did you
due
have
to
to
like
say
Make me an
where
bread?
his head is from the
make me an
flour.
athletics check.
Out
All of
all
that being
things.
don't touch the tree.
the worst part about all of this is that the conclusion Naren draws from all of this is, so our world's just a giant loaf of bread.
No,
18
Suddenly, Rowan doesn't seem so crazy anymore.
New episode title: World of Bread.
16 plus 2, 18.
The prime baguette realm.
As you go over and throw your weight to it, he goes over and just as he's about to touch the tree, you smack him like a linebacker would in any football game. American football, not European football. As Clyde hits Rowan in the back and takes him down, You can see his roans. I mean, why? I
Don't
wasn't even doing
touch the
anything.
tree.
You were gonna call one of these guardians lunch. I don't think they would take to that.
We're past the Guardians, aren't we?
You don't know that.
Clyde looks at the trees, looking for the faces.
Great, I do gotta be right back
Perception
for
check.
2 minutes.
That's fine.
I refer Behemoth. I refer back to what I sent you.
Oh god.
I want to know what was sent.
All right, what the
Let,
hell
let
was
me send
said?
you a screenshot. I'm gonna send it
Should
into
I
no
just
mic.
post it in? Should I just post it in no mic?
I'm just
I
gonna
don't think
real
Twitch would
quick
have a
get it.
problem with that.
I'm real quick just gonna chuck it into no mic. That is what screenshot programs are for, luckily.
This was when you sent said about the trees having faces.
Why do I feel like I'm going to really, really just despise this?
You are.
What is this
You
is
are.
going on? You guys make your way through once again. And Clyde, you try and keep your eyes up, looking for any faces to the trees.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, you don't see many of them. All you could really see is you think you see them.
Do you now understand why I said I took psychic damage in the DMs?
Yeah.
Yes. Because, believe it or not, that is the one phrase I actually know how to read in Vietnamese. God damn it, dude. Fuck you. Just fuck you, okay? Moving on!
Thank you.
No, I'm
No,
very
Clyde,
glad
you
I
do
didn't
not.
say it in chat.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely, but still doesn't make it any better.
Say bananas.
Only a little.
Clyde, you do not see any faces in the trees. You only think you do.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. All right.
So, what are you guys doing?
Crying.
I suppose if we have nothing else to do, like, we should probably just continue down our merry way.
Okay. As this is going on, you all eventually start seeing the colors are starting to fade very gently into softer blues, greens, and browns. The reds start very slowly into pinks. And you start seeing as the forest starts very slowly calming down, the vibrancy of it transitioning to that of almost like a night, as it very slowly and very, almost very, it's not noticeable, but it's enough to where you pay attention to it. But it's starting to get dark. It's bright enough out that it's still much like the sun is still out and up for you. But you try and watch. And you think this is the day-night system, but you're not sure. And there's Aaron that just keeps paying attention to it. And, yeah, believe it'd be a good part as any to take a break here. At least some sort of, well, perhaps camp out for the night.
Is it safe to camp here, though?
As long as we keep a watch, we should be fine.
Well, what happens at night where we need to keep a watch out for?
Usual creatures, the like.
Clyde?
Some of them are hungry, some of them are not, some of them try and find themselves about. There's not much to it. The Feywild acts much like any other place, but the creatures are a bit more, shall we say, intricate to the mind.
Nerm just kind of
Magic
looks.
is about.
Sorry.
No, continue.
Nerm just kind of looks
That was
at
all I had
Clyde.
to say.
Yeah.
I
Nerm,
return.
welcome back.
Welcome back.
Nerm kind of just looks at Clyde and goes, "We've been camping on the roadside for a while now. You're asking why we need a watch."
No, I'm asking what would come after us in the middle of the night, not why do we need to watch.
I mean, heck, it's probably not going to be any worse than what we had to go through already. Hopefully. So,
Mm.
I don't know. I think I'll be okay.
Well, we should be fine. I mean, most of the areas around here are protected by the Ents. So we shouldn't need to worry too much into it. Most of them find themselves rather, shall we say, protective of the creatures, even if they aren't from the Amber Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case. Whilst this place is, according to you, not the Feywild itself, I rather not want to risk anything of our possessions getting stolen just because this place is not usually hostile.
He shrugs. Well, suit yourself. If it's exhaustion you wish, then it's exhaustion you wish. But what say you?
Um, it it does not bother me. Not like we've had any action as of late, but it wouldn't be the first time of having sleepless nights.
Very well. We can keep moving. Hopefully it won't be too much farther.
Fingers crossed.
And you guys travel through what you have been told. What you have been told is the night cycle of the Amber Forest. The beautiful and vibrant colors that immediately surround you. Eventually, as you keep traveling through the long hours, start slowly coming back to the fruitive reds, greens, and beautiful aspects of purple and amber that immediately just start filling the areas around you. The sound of chirping birds and crickets, croaking frogs, and other normal animals, from what you could hope, the sound of them. You continue moving. Eventually, after long enough travel, you do find yourselves coming across what seems to be much more of a rocky terrain than usual. The dirt gives way to moss and vine-covered rocks ranging from foot height all the way up to a towering 7 to 8 feet. Looks almost like stalagmites that have just grown up on their own volition. You see small balls of what look to be boulders, maybe about 2 feet long by about a foot wide. They're very weird formations to look at, all of them growing at odd angles or even in weird positions. The moss covering them glowing a soft green with hues of yellow and tinges of orange. Arnott looks over. Well, it seems we're getting closer. This is the start of the usual farm Daisy stays at. Just do be careful around here. The rocks don't normally like it when you disturb their sleep.
Um,
Noted.
I'm sorry. What? Since when do
Arnett
rocks
sighs.
sleep?
Arnett sighs and goes over to one of the small little bundles of what looks to be a very round rock. Like, it's almost as round as a European football, with two small little spiky stone, pretty much off hangs to its front and rear.
Oh,
Mhm.
He goes
man.
over and runs a hand over its back, and you guys actually see as the rock very slowly, like, rotates left to right, and you hear a soft grinding of stone. It almost sounds like a rock is purring as he runs its hand along what you can only think is its back.
So they're like giant cats.
Oh,
Not
no.
exactly. And he goes down and just kind of like taps it, and the soft grumbling purr becomes kind of a growl, and you actually see as sides of the rock start slowly forming up with bits and pieces of rubble and pebbles beneath it, and you see it starts growing legs. And the rock, as it stands up, the base of it pulls out from the ground, and you actually see what looks to be two amber yellow eyes from underneath it. A very odd creature. You see as it looks at all of you, very slowly rotating on its four legs,
I
and
wish I could,
grumbles
like,
yet again.
show my face so that way you could understand the amount of, like, what is going on with Zoram. Also, that is a terrible pun, Vientus. I hate it.
For those of you who play League in this, kind of think of them looking like Krugs.
Oh, little Krug.
Like, here, let me
I
get.
know
I'll
what
put this
that
in Nomad
If we,
for you.
if we, if we, if
That
we,
is what they look like.
if we kill it, it'll split off
Ooh.
into several more.
It's cute.
Adam just kind of looks at it, goes, "Ah, okay, let sleeping rocks lie." Okay.
Arnett
I
goes
s-
back and starts petting the back of this rock once again. You hear it like grumble once again as the rocks in its mouth very slowly make these sounds, and it slowly settles itself back into the dirt back from where it once arose and settles back into its little crevice, and you see as the rocks at its legs slowly fall apart, and it once again goes into a hibernating status or stasis.
I swear we're gonna end up having it that something like this is gonna end up turning into a party pet.
What is a party pet?
You know,
In the other campaign that we're part of, we had a
All of my
lizard
comments
doggo.
have turned into gameplay. Yet the one time I try and do it to you guys,
you know, lesson learned. Don't fuck around with the rocks.
Yeah, we don't want one named Dwayne coming after us.
Ubi has
Oh,
lost his speaking
look.
privileges.
Sorry.
Good.
I just in character, I'm just casting silence on Zoram. Saying what?
Zoram, as God, I say you fail your save, and you are silenced.
Oh my god. Fucking just a bolt of fucking magic lightning comes from the sky and silences Zoram.
Yes, the world cast "fuck you" at Zoram. Sorry, it would be "fuck you, comma be quiet." There we go. That is the name of the spell. All right. So,
God.
as Zoram no doubt laughs and cackles his ass off at the humorous endeavor he has brought forth towards the party. You once again continue moving through this large garden of rocks around you. I will have all of you just go ahead and make me a general stealth check here. I'm just trying to be quiet.
Stealthy stealth. The stealthiest of the stealth.
That's oh boy. Bonuses. Nope.
I got a 17.
I got a 9.
Oh, you too. I
9.
also got a 9.
Well, I got a 7 and then add the 2, so.
Oh, we have exactly the same stealth bonus then.
Ah, great.
So all of you try and stay quiet. Niram, Clyde, you both find yourselves trying your best to stay out of the way of the sleeping rocks. But as you make your way forth, you actually find yourselves not only stepping over one of the large mounds, but it's one of the larger ones. And Niram, your size allows you to clear it. But eventually you look over and Clyde's like, yeah, I can do that. I can make that. And Clyde steps over, trying to reach over with their smaller legs, and eventually just kind of trips slightly, and their foot knocks very hard into the top of this rock. And you all hear this low grumbling growl of as the rocks beneath it start very slowly grinding into one another. And this giant of a rock compared to the others you've seen is just about 3 feet long and about 2.5 tall, with many jolting spikes of rock growing out of its back. And it very slowly pulls itself out of the ground, covered in moss and other bits and pieces of vine. And the glowing amber eyes looking at you from underneath it as the head slowly pulls itself out from the dirt. It just looks at you with a very, very pissed off glance.
I'm just gonna look around being like, does anyone have any rock treats?
What, do you want to give it some rock candy?
Will that work?
No, I don't think so.
Uh.
Then again, I have no idea what that diet is, so
Clyde's just gonna be like, I'm sorry. Sorry. As he's trying to figure out, like how to appease this rock.
Go ahead and make me a general survival check here, as Arna slowly turns around and looks at all of you and just kind of face palms once again.
I got a 15. Oh, what do I get?
As you
15, great.
As you look out and try and keep your best idea forward here, the only thing you can think of is trying to give it something to appease it. You don't know what that is, but it might be like what do rocks eat? You have no idea.
Can I try and pet its back?
Go ahead and make me a general animal handling
Wait,
check
no,
here.
hold on. Didn't you say it had spikes coming out of it?
It had spikes coming out of its back. So make me an animal handling check.
Oh, God, I'm gonna get stabbed by a rock.
no.
Oh God, what is okay? Animal handling. I have no bonuses in. I got a 10.
And
Got a 10.
as you go over, you're lucky these rocks are very, very stupid. You make your way over, and very, very gently stick your hand out and just kind of put it against the nape of its head,
Mm-hmm.
and very slowly, like, rock your hand left to right.
I do a little scratching motion on.
You scratch your hand on the rock. It feels very weird, but you actually see as the rock's eyes very slowly, like, squint, and you hear this soft grumbling purr. And you eventually see as the rock is gently swaying side to side before it eventually steps back, and you hear the loud kind of cacophony of that.
It forgave me.
And it steps back into its place and slowly sinks back into its little hiding hole
And
and
Clyde just
returns
kind
back
of
to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Clyde then like takes like a couple leaves, right? And he just like gingerly places it on top and then goes back to join the rest of the party.
Nam just kind of looks at Clyde and goes, I, next time you can ask me if I can, like, help you over.
It's fine. It's fine. Just puts like another leaf on top of the rock.
Well, ultimately nothing happens, so yeah, I guess it's okay. Come on, we gotta catch up.
Put the leaf on top of it, and you actually hear what sounds like a miniature earthquake, and you see as as this little rock actually shakes and the leaf falls off of it.
Oh, okay. I thought I was being nice, but no, it didn't. Like,
If you keep making fucking rock jokes, I swear to God, I will fucking ban you
I
for a
didn't
week.
make her.
No, no, no,
I'm
no,
not
no, look
talking
at
to
no,
you.
Mike.
I'm talking to fucking Hoobie and no Mike. That was not directed towards you, Hope. I swear to God.
Oh my god.
And I will have him ban you on Twitch too.
Oh my fucking Christ. Let's just get on with it.
Fucking rock puns. Jose, I saw that.
I was just about to say, Jose, was that a rock pun I saw?
Ugh.
Oh, goodness.
As you make your way through this garden, as gingerly and as carefully as you can, Arnott still leading the way and helpfully guiding you guys through this small endeavor. Eventually, you do come across a large, almost bowl-like area that seeps into the ground like a giant quarry. The sound of rumbling and the sound of stone on stone grinding is very prevalent as you look around and see in this large bowl-like quarry there are hundreds of these little rocks that are just either crawling over each other, crawling up the walls, walking about, or even just nestled in the side and sleeping. It looks like this is one of the pits that they're from. You see a gentle source of water, like a small stream, looks to be coming in from a north, from actually, since you're in the north, it'd be from your south. A little stream slowly falls down and empties into this and creates a small little pool of water at the base. And you see that's where most of these little rocks are currently crawling over each other. You guys can probably tell you're getting close to the main area of this farm. As you lead the way through, you once again found yourself stopped by some sort of weird vision, almost, or visage at least. As Arnett stops you all once again, you look forward and see what looks to be almost like a small hobbit hole, a mound of earth encompassed by large fortifications of rock that immediately seem to persuade themselves into what looks to be a very fine mosaic of art that almost looks to be, if you kind of squinted your eyes, it almost looks to be a mural of the forest itself, made out of the cracks and moss on the stone. And in front of it, you do see what looks to be a small little globe of light that seems to be zipping to and fro in front of it, enjoying itself, and you see little jolts of magic kind of pushing out from here or there. Anybody?
What?
Anybody want to do anything? You're just kind of standing there.
Well, Nerum's not going to
Um,
take any chances.
Okay.
Who wants to kind of step forward and kind of take a risk at this little ball of light that totally doesn't remind me of something?
You know what? Clyde'll do it. Take one for the team, gingerly, just being like,
Ruby,
hey.
do you have it out for me today?
Hmm?
That one image awakened a fucking whole bunch of PTSD. Oh, God.
Hey, listen. Hey, listen.
Oh, want me to make it worse?
No.
No, fuck you.
Yeah,
Swear to
but
God.
Clyde'll take one for the team.
All right. So, Clyde, as you step forward, you eventually find yourself
I immediately
face
regret my
to face.
decisions.
You find yourself face to face with this globe of light. The closer you get to it, the smaller the light becomes, and you actually see it looks to be a miniature human, maybe about the size of your hand,
Mm-hmm.
wearing a beautiful dress of white and red feathers.
Okay.
You see as this small, what you can only guess is a fairy, looks over at you and, oh, hello, who might you be?
Clyde, we have come seek. Oh God, what was the girl's name again?
Kelly, you did not.
As Clyde is having this
Ooh.
conversation, Clyde turns around as she's trying to converse with Clyde, and Clyde looks back to you and says, who are we looking for again?
We're looking for Daisy. Clyde.
Yes, right. Clyde kind of like looks back to her, being like, "We're looking for Daisy."
Little fairy kind of looks at you and scratches their little head and looks over. Uh, were you having trouble remembering what you were here for?
No, I just couldn't remember the name.
Hey, come on, we've been around for what, like...
You see, where I'm from, they like to call what I am illiterate.
Oh my God.
Oh, I thought it was dyslexic.
I just thought you were going to go with forgetful.
The fairy very slowly kind of tilts its head looking at you and, oh, all right.
Don't mind them. They are an odd one, even for this realm.
I don't believe I've ever seen you around these parts before. Might I ask who you are? You see his Arna kind of takes a step forward here, and he has a passing recognizing glance over towards Arna. You I've heard about. The other ones here are interesting to me. Who are you?
Uh, material plane dwellers?
I could tell that by your smell. Who are you?
Well, I guess my name's Zoram.
The little wings kind
My
of beat
bad.
past, and this little glowing fairy becomes once again something you can see, and you see the very fine dress of red and white feathers, very finely tailored, and it looks like an expert sewer or some sort of other fine maker of dresses for this small fairy. Zips up to you. So, Zora, why are you here at my farm?
Well, we're looking for someone who is experienced with medicine.
Well, that comes to be when you're looking for Daisy. So, and she looks around at all of you with this still happily glowing smile. The fairy itself looks to be almost like a teenager in if it were a human. Beautiful blonde hair that comes out almost like a tomboy cut, very finely stuck up and mixed and almost matted together in some places. So, which one of you woke up my rocks?
It gingerly raises his hand, being like, I didn't mean to, I'm sorry.
The fairy very slowly zips back towards Clyde. She stares at you, Clyde, and you've never felt a more kind of petrifying gaze from a small creature.
I scratched it and it forgave me. He's kind of like blurts that out, being like, I think I was forgiven.
Fine. If it has forgiven you, I guess I can too. If it had attacked you, we'd have another story.
Well, I was not attacked, so I hope I'm okay. He kind of like smiles, being like,
Well, you've all come such a long way. You may feel free to stay here for as long as you need, or at least until your stay is over. But you'll be able to find Daisy. She should be that way. And she points off to the right.
So I'm just gonna kind of look in that direction, kind of see what kind of path they would have to take. No, don't want to
Fairly
step
normal
on.
path. Most of the rocks have actually slowly started petering out the closer you get to the house. So by the time you're at the house, it's more of just kind of a flat, rocky pebble, almost like a rocky Zen garden. Like it's very flat, nothing but pebbles that lead up to the house.
Right. Well, what's everyone feeling like right now? How is everyone doing? Actually, I'm quite surprised to actually hear a fairy speaking common instead of Sylvan, especially in the
It would
Feywild.
start speaking in a language that you wouldn't understand. And the rest of you hear in a rather kind of astute tone from the fairy. It's because I had assumed you went from here. I didn't want to assume that you spoke my language because it's not very well known to outside dwellers. And she switches back to common. Well, it seems you didn't understand what I said, so I'll stay in common.
It was mainly just an observation of surprise.
Most things in here can speak common. It just depends on if they want to or not.
Good to know.
So that spider could have spoken common.
Yes, it could have. But most things in here are just so used to speaking Sylvan, that's all they speak.
You know what? That's fair. It's like going to another country.
Do you know how if Daisy will be around frequently, or if she will have to leave at any points, just so that way we can catch her at a good time to not like disturb her.
She shrugs. "Well, it depends upon Daisy, really. If you want to catch her, you can go and catch her. There's nothing wrong with it. She just
It's just
has
a matter of respect.
She just has a very unchained spirit. So don't
Yeah.
think you can catch her down too easily.
So it's probably good to go now in case we can't. Everyone kind of ready?
She is. Rowan would
I
nod.
have no choice but to be.
Suppose.
So,
Out of all things, I'm surprised Rowan is like taking the Feywild so well instead of freaking the heck out of everything.
because you hadn't had the chance to freak out. Unless you had to run into Yavorik. In which case, you did kind of panic a little bit. A lot.
I mean, hey, it's not a trip down into the freaking
But
hells.
it's like he freaks out over about tieflings, and then he doesn't freak out about a tiny little flying creature.
Well, it's the thing. He knows demons. He knows demons are demons, devils are devils, and sort of they're evil. But you run into a fairy. Hey, fairies are good in stories. You also have good stories about Ents. You have good stories about some spiders in the Feywild. I mean, it's the Feywild. This is full of good creatures, as far as he knows.
But like here's my thing, right? Like typically like before fairies became an omen of good, they were technically versions of demons. So
I ain't touching this one. I ain't
Are
touching
you
this
gonna
one.
try and bring that up? Are you gonna try and bring that up to Rowan?
No,
no, because
because
the
the last
peace
thing that
is
we need
nice.
is him freaking out over everything.
Mhm.
All right.
The piece is quite nice. Why would I go and ruin that by trying to tell him tales of a old urban legend?
But it would be funny.
As all of you are tired and on the verge of exhaustion,
Yeah, so probably a good idea to rest.
the fairy looks at all of you and nods softly. You do look tired. Why don't you rest? Besides, the most of the uh, I wouldn't exactly call them elementals, but most of my pets keep this place safe. So you don't need to worry too much.
And
What's with this silence?
Sorry, I was just taking a drink of coffee there.
You
She
have
just looks at
coffee
all of
there?
you.
Yes.
And you see Zora's like, yeah, I got coffee. The fuck's wrong with you? You only have wine. I got fucking coffee. Fuck you.
I was just like, brewed him a bit before we went. Actually, surprised you still had some left over.
You all look over and see Aaron and see, well, you know what? I think I'm exhausted. I think just before anything bad happens, we should probably sleep. We don't know what we're going to run into, and frankly, we don't know if we're going to need to chase this Daisy if she doesn't want to be locked down. So frankly, I think we should sleep.
I was gonna ask where
Okay.
she said that if there was a place that she said we could.
You just said sleep around. I mean,
Okay.
it's open to you.
Where do you guys like, just kind of out in the field or just?
Bard brain go burr.
The fairy just kind of looks at you and, you know, we do have beds like everyone else.
Just don't want to impose.
And she looks at you and, fine. And she goes over and kind of opens the door for you. The door very slowly kind of creaks open. The most of the house is made of stone. The door is the only thing made of wood. And as it very slowly opens up for you, you look over and most of the things in the house are actually human-sized. And it's very weird.
What? I'm not gonna question. No, not gonna question it. Nope.
She looks back at you, Zoram, as you're kind of inwardly saying that. Is that a problem?
No, not at all.
Your face says otherwise.
Just aesthetic choices that I've kind of noticed.
Is that a problem with the way my house is designed?
Not at all.
Are you sure?
Positive. He's
She
not
looks
lying.
at you. And,
He's
yeah,
not lying. There's no reason.
Yeah, she looks at you and. Very well. She floats off. The rooms and such are at your disposal. You may use them as you need. No, that is not what's going on.
No, I know, but my brain's just like, yes, the fairy.
Damn it, Hope. Just damn.
You guys thought I was bad.
Oh, shut up! You were making rock puns.
I'll do it again.
Fuck
Don't
you.
make me. I'll do it again.
And as this continues, and you see as Arna goes over and actually finds a nice little spot just out in the open, and kind of curls up in a small bed of moss, and he just kind of sinks into it, and you watch as he falls into a trance. Until Zoram, you step into the house. You actually kind of have to duck because this is made to a relatively small human standard, so roughly about 5'2". So Zoram, Niram, you guys are gonna have to pretty much like be on your knees to walk through here.
Like Clyde or something like that.
Clyde is actually 5'4", so even Clyde needs to duck in here.
Clyde isn't 5'4".
Yeah, she's 4'8".
No.
Okay.
All right, Hope.
Clyde's
What?
5'9", but he tries to get away with it and says he's like 5'11".
Okay, so Clyde being 5'9" actually has to duck into the house.
3'8".
If you didn't already, you all feel like giants in here. Niram, you feel the biggest out of everybody as you look down and see most of the things are scaled down to a small human size. And you're not sure how to feel about it.
Sorry, I feel like we probably would be better off outside.
Naram's just kind of looking at Zoram with a very, very pleading look in his eyes and goes, we'll be done quickly, won't we?
Like we're just staying to sleep, so we could just sleep outside, and not like we haven't done that before.
He's just like, no, it would be mean to deny the hospitality of our host. It'll be fine.
Just gotta mind our size then.
Naram's gonna do his best to, be as much out of the way as he can, because if everything's scaled down to small human size...
This is going to be an acrobatics check, please.
All right.
This is
Can
going to be
I
very
assist him?
dexterous. You're having the same problems he is.
Like,
Hey,
while
that's
he's
a 19. 17 plus 2.
Hey, he did it! For the first time in a long time, Niram, you actually find yourself not in the way. You are moving perfectly to get out of the way of everything and everyone. And there is no issue with you actually staying in here. The room you have is small, but you kind of post the small of your back against the floor and kind of tuck your legs in. And the room is somewhat comfortable. I mean, it's maybe about 5 foot by 5 foot. So you kind of have to sit up.
He's just like a bit exhausted.
No, it's just, big boy.
Mhm. Yeah, very big boy.
I mean, he's both big and wide.
Yes.
So
he is.
there are certain complications that come with that.
I am not. Nope. Nope. Nope.
Whatever cursed thought you had in your head, leave it there.
It almost came out.
Always look on the bright side of life. Yeah. All right. Yep. So, as that happens, all of you find yourselves to sleep, and it's actually relatively decent. I will have all of you go ahead and make me wisdom saves as you sleep.
Oh no.
You're in the Feywild.
This is why I said we should keep a watch.
That's a 12.
Okay.
I got a 16.
18.
11.
Okay. Did anybody roll below an 11?
Nope.
Nice.
I think
Okay.
11's just...
Is all of you very quickly fall asleep. It's actually, even though the confines of your room aren't very comfortable, the sleep you have is, for lack of a better term, magical. As you close your eyes, Niram, for the first time in a long time, just a few seconds after you close your eyes, you actually find yourself asleep. And your head lolls back and kind of lands against the wall. Through this sleep, you all hear a soft lullaby, almost like a humming. You don't know where it comes from, or if you're just dreaming about it. But something about it feels like it's trying to leach into your brain for either good or bad, and you're not sure which is which. But eventually the lullaby stops and you find yourselves in a calm but undreamed sleep. And when you awaken in the morning, you feel well rested. No issues and no problems. None of your equipment missing, and none of you missing at all.
Oh,
Yay,
that's
we
good.
didn't die.
We've survived a night in the Feywilds. Or pseudo Feywilds.
Technically, this is your second night, but you guys just didn't know it was nighttime. So, this is the first time you guys have slept in the Feywild area of the Amber Forest.
Yeah. Suppose that's close enough.
Well, I guess
Eventually, in the morning, the fairy does kind of greet all of you. And she provides you a small little berry. Just one berry, and it looks like a multitude of colors. A mixture of red, green, and blue with a tinge of orange. The berry is no bigger than a blueberry. And she just hands one to each of you.
his arms like watching Arnott, seeing what he does.
Arn looks at it. What do you do, Arn?
He is mute.
Yes, I know, but he's typing.
Oh, I forget.
He is typing, tapping.
Tappity tap 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 tap.
You would actually these are actually familiarly common in the Feywild. These are good berries. You see as Arnott looks at it for a moment and seems to recognize it and puts it in his mouth, chews and swallows.
Well, seeing that it must be safe to eat, his arm's gonna eat it.
Okay. So, eating through this berry, you guys actually feel fuller than you've ever been before, especially just from any meal you've had. And it's not just something that makes you feel weighed down. It makes you feel strong, kind of like a hearty soup during a cold day. It makes you feel good. You will not need to worry about eating anything for the day. The good berry suffices you for the day. The entirety of the day.
Whee!
Tasty.
And it tastes faintly of orange and pomegranate.
That's a bit of a curious combination, but well,
It's good though.
yeah. Just not something you encounter regularly.
Chef Narum is
Chef
on the
Nurum was like,
prowl.
I wonder how I could make this myself.
This is what
then he learns that it's based on magic, and he's like, "Oh fuck."
this is why Narum needs to get the chef feat.
Yeah.
You know what? This is why you don't let him near the kitchen because you'll burn it down again.
We just need to get him to practice.
But the kitchen.
Yeah, get him to practice.
I will get a fireproof kettle and work with only heated stones. No open flames.
Wait a second.
Like,
Yet.
I need to figure out how to make heat stones.
oh my god. At some point, we're gonna run around with like fucking with heat stones, with an iron kettle that is meant to be like.
Become a mobile kitchen.
Yeah, we'll just have a fucking food truck.
I don't know
Guys
why.
will be
but,
driving by a war zone and be like, "Oh wait, hey, more customers, guys!" It's like you guys are in the middle of an active battle. It's like, "Hey, get your hot pockets! Hey, get your hot
I
pockets!"
don't know
I
why.
mean,
but the
I have a bag
second-
of holding.
The second you guys were like, yes, the heat stone, my mind just went to Markiplier on Unos Honest telling a elaborated story on how, like how his dad used to sit on a stone and they would use that as like the heat stone or the hot stone.
That just sounds wrong.
Yeah, no, like it was
Moving
the
on.
funniest story.
Moving
though.
on. Moving on.
As you find yourselves once again rested and moving through, following the directions from the ferry, you follow through the garden, and I will have all of you go ahead and make me one last stealth check as you try and make your way through these.
Skilly-bap-bap.
Oh, it's for the puppy rocks again.
Oh wow,
They
that
are,
one's pretty
believe
good.
it or not, they're actually known as pox. P-O-C-K's, pox.
Can we
So
adopt
I was
one?
close.
We need to adopt one.
Well, I got a
It will
17.
become the new dog Zard.
My god.
What is my stealth odds?
I need to.
I got a 23. Did you fail again? You just failed again, didn't you?
We don't talk about Bruno.
Did you did you just get a
Oh god.
natural one?
No, I got a little better than a 1.
A
Got a
2?
I got a 3.
A 3?
Oh, Lord.
Oh.
Oh my
Wait,
And then add
god.
2, it's a 5.
Oh, a 5. Wow. Guys, you got a 5.
So as the rest of you are currently walking your way through, Clyde, you're still staring at this berry, and you're like, I wonder why it tastes like this, because you've only had like half of it. You keep the other half in your hand, and you're staring at it. And just as you pop it into your mouth, you kind of close your eyes to savor the taste, and all of a sudden your foot, in full swing, just kicks right into one of these rocks.
Oh
And you hear what sounds like a very sad grumbling of a...
Do I have any more of the berries?
No, you only had one. And it very slowly starts standing up. And this is, as you look at it, this is an old rock. This
Clyde's
has...
immediately gonna like reach out and like start scratching.
Joe, start very... You try rubbing it. Go ahead and make me an animal handling check.
You're just
No.
like, shh, okay, go back to sleep.
Nerem just looks at this and goes, okay, I'm gonna have to make a mental note to carry Clyde through this next time.
I got a 14.
14.
14. I got a 14.
As this ancient rock starts slowly getting itself out of its hole, trying, and as you actually pet it, you actually see as it turns around and actually starts walking away from you. You see as it moves position just about 10 feet away and slowly starts digging itself a new hole.
What do I have? Even a peace offering.
I don't know. What do you have?
I don't want to give it my frog. Or my beret. I don't think it could do anything with a frog or a beret.
Why did I just imagine a puck with a fucking beret on?
I don't have anything in my bag of holding to give anything, so... The only thing I have is King's Root and Sickle Grass.
Why do I
Goes
have
over.
in my inventory?
Rowan goes over to it, looks at it,
Crimson
has an
Coins
idea, and actually
Spider?
pulls out a small ruby. and just kind of throws it at the ground beneath it. And you see as the pock stops, looks down at the ruby, and the head very slowly goes over and picks it up, and you hear a soft crunching sound.
Why did I think for a moment that he would go and share a bit of bread with it?
That was his first idea, but he got a really good intelligence roll.
Oh, that's good.
And
Clyde
as
just
this
looks over being
pock
like,
very
"Thank you."
slowly stops, like throughout its time opening up this new hole to dig itself into, it's been kind of doing this whining grumble. And as this ruby is put in front of it and it crunches on it, it goes quiet and settles itself into its half-made hole. And you actually see as small veins start glowing a very gentle red from underneath the vines. And you see as it curls up and falls asleep. And you watch as just about in about a 15-foot radius, the other pock starts slowly glowing a gentle red.
Is it happy?
I think it was
They're all
hungry.
asleep.
Let's just leave them to this. Let's just keep moving.
Continuing your movement past the rest of these pocks, you come across what looks to be some sort of a grove just outside of the reach of this stone. The grove itself looks to be a small fandangling of soft grass and beautiful flowers, small ferns that grow very short against the nape of the ground. And you hear a soft humming. The humming you hear is feminine, beautiful, and perfect, almost lulling you and kind of trancing you forward. As you continue into this grove and look on, you see something. Looks to be some sort of a woman.
Is it tasty?
And from what you can see, it's a very soft kind of a dark brunette hair that slowly falls over the shoulders. A very soft, pale skin that looks to be covered in an ornate gown of what seems to be almost an old design of a corset, but wrapped around gently, made out of soft flowers and feathers. Bits of bark and other pieces of fine, just ornate design of flower just protrude themselves out. And you actually watch as this woman kind of puts a hand out and she starts running it gently through her hair. And you watch as it goes from dark brunette and very slowly starts turning into a very soft blonde. And she seems pleased with it. And you watch as she starts plucking flowers and very gently putting them into her hair. And as you watch this display, she very gently seems to feel your presence and looks over at you. And you see beautiful blue eyes that captivate you with a glance. Perfect, not an ounce of anything to them: fear, regret, pain, nothing but hope and joy. And the smile that curls across her face just warms your heart. And that's what will end the night session.
She also
You only see the upper portion of her body at the moment.
Oh,
okay, but genuinely by size?
We don't know.
Mm,
I mean, worst case, it
What?
could be a trick of the light. You never know.
Watch it be a dryad, and we're all immediately have been charmed.
Oh,
No, it is most definitely, like, from what you can tell from her belly button up, is human. Or it looks to be elven human. Like a blood that a perfection that could only be attained with elven blood.
Now,
mhm.
okay.
And then you see the kind of perfect the perfect imperfections of the human that just kind of seep through every once in a while.
Anyways, I
Which is a
guess.
half elf.
But-
sorry for all the psychic damage I cause.
You will need to apologize for a lot more than that.
Oh my god.
Well,
You need to
I only
apologize to
apologized
Ross.
this much because I'm not sorry.
But as we go ahead and end tonight's session there, I will go ahead and say I do hope you all enjoyed. And I will
Thank
go
you.
ahead and look over to those of you on Twitch as we end. Hi there. Hello and goodbye as well. We do have some usual aspects to get our way out. As if you want to do anything and see what antics have happened before and are planned, you can go and actually check out the YouTube playlist that has just been sent up into the chat by Behemoth. If you want to try and take a look at anything else or get even news about the campaign here, you can actually go to our Discord. It is leading to his channel Discord, actually.
Yeah.
If you have any questions about that, both I and Behemoth are there, and we will be more than happy to answer any questions you have. And if you actually enjoyed that much, perhaps you could even drop a follow. You can also find out more about our timing and schedule and whenever we're live much more easily that way as well.
Yep.
But for that, I won't do my usual and beg for the usual donation
Yeah,
of
I think
a
we've had quite
subscription.
enough
So
of that.
you don't have to
Divine
make me feel
intervention,
bad.
great.
This is an
Great,
intervention.
I
You don't
will-
need to beg
more
on other
money.
people's behalfs.
But I will go ahead and hand it off
I
to
will
Behemoth
bring
here.
Dwayne into this.
I'm gonna cut it off right there. Jeez. We've had quite enough of a rocky road today anyways. But yeah, thanks everyone who showed up. I mean, with how it's going recently, I think D&D will be the only consistent thing on the channel for a while. But if nothing else should happen, keep in mind, I am not the person who plans this campaign. I'm not the end-all be-all decider of this campaign. Can't influence it, but usually at around 8 p.m. Central European time, you can expect this campaign to go live. Maybe 8:30. But yeah, other than that, might get back into Final Fantasy VI at some point. Maybe I'll stream through some adventures on 14. Maybe I'll do something else, but that'll be a thing I leave for future me to decide. But again, thanks for hanging out, checking the stream out. Hop. Oh god. Can't even talk anymore. I hope y'all have a lovely evening. Or whatever it is at your end. And take care.